Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the finale of Kowloon Generic Romance, episode 13. And this has been a real ride of a series. I just don't know how people in the community, anime community, just be sleeping on this series, or ignore it altogether. I just don't get it though. This has been a real great series. This the twists after one after another. It just like took always taking me by surprise. I just couldn't predict what was gonna happen next. But here now, this coming to an end now. For if I know that this series and with the manga, then there's gonna be the live action version. Each is like a different ending. So, and I think that the manga is coming to a close as well. So, but the ending is gonna be different. It's like three different versions. So, which I'm very curious to see how the live action movie will turn out though. So, but anyway, just the last episode of this series. So how we went over how everything was created by Kudo because of his own regrets, and just couldn't let go because, and we see more in the flashbacks like how the real Raiko, like she loved this summer, right? Why she loved this town a lot though, because she loved this summer, and then when and then how she basically suicide herself. Well, it was intended because it was like kind of like a gamble. Like if those pills that she took, it's like if you take them, if she's still alive, then okay, you know what, she will move on and leave, right? But she died though. But so you say it's not really a suicide, but it's kind of like a gamble. It was, but and it left, and especially she died the night that Kudo proposed to her. Will you marry me? Now, what Kudo is like, he depressed because first of all, one of the things that's why, he said like how she liked the summer, right? She didn't want it to end. It was like it was a beautiful summer that she wanted to just keep on living in this thing though. But just like how we can't just stop how it is though. But and then when she died, he kind of he was so depressed that he, out of his regret, that he created this whole because it was the city was gonna come down anyway. That was the thing. The city was gonna come down. So he recreated with that thing of the sky. He recreated this whole entire thing, and henceforth he created the Raiko that we know of. The Raiko that we know of right now. Now, everything does kind of look the same though, but except for her because one of the reasons why the Raiko we know is how she is right now because Kudo didn't fully understand, even though he knew the original Raiko, right? But he never fully understood the in and outs of her, right? He didn't know her full personality. He basically didn't know a thing about what goes on in her head, and all this stuff. He didn't know her in and outs. So when she died, though, he kind of recreated her, the record we know of, the best he could, though. But she did become her own person. She was not completely the same one that he knew. So, and this is like it was like I say it was all of his it's like I keep this into a running joke every time. Whenever I'm on camera, I yawn. It's like I don't when I'm off. It's such a complete nuisance to me. Jeez, I hate it. But anyway, what I was saying is I get my mind back together, and that's one of the things like it's just about it's about letting go. That's what it is, right? He has to let go, and with the Reiko that we know of, and she's ready to step outside the boundaries, wondering, hey, will she evaporate because she's been a part of this thing for so long? Will she evaporate? But turns out because she's her own person, she's not the same person that who she was originally. She made it. And Yao Mei and the other guy that was with her, the Chinese guy, they came out and she's all right. So, and and also with Miyuki, the snake guy, and the other guy, they made it out too as well. They made it out too, but I guess like, well, I guess 2 years later, I guess the whole thing, the whole company of his company, has been like disowned, I think. And now, what I thought was very happy about, now that Reiko, she gets to live the life of her own now. She doesn't have to live in that fantasy city anymore. We see her now. She's living in the real world, in the real city, and she's living her own life that and she's happy. And that's why I liked it. Would have been fine if it would like a downbeat ending. If she did fade out of existence, yeah, I would have. But I'm glad that, which makes me conflicted on the other endings, like the upcoming live action one, and the ending of the manga. So here, the one we know of, though, I'm fine with. I'm perfectly happy with it. Hey, she got to finally live her own life now, and living outside of that, you know, that facade she's lived in for her whole existence. And now she's finally, and she's going to eat waiting for Yame, but Kudo finally appears, and he made it too, because he was able to let go and move on without the real Reiko. Now, like I said, did the original Reiko liked Kudo? Yeah, I would say so. Right? But I think that she did this because, well, I think she kind of cared about the whole city itself more than him a bit more, because she liked living this life the way it was, though. And when the summer was coming to an end, it's like she did not want to live without that anymore. So she kind of gambled in a way, like taking those 5 pills. If she died, then she died the how before the city got destroyed. But if she lived, surviving that, then she'll be able to move on and just leave them, right? Now, what she did like Kudo, but I think she cared about the city a bit more, though. But there was a way she did like him, yes. But of course, since it was the night of his proposal, and then when he finally came back and we saw her, gone, it kind of just like did like some mental damage, and that's why he created this whole thing out of his own mind. So he just had to let go of it, and move on. And so he sits at the table with Rico, and now they both now can just live, outside, living in a fantasy world, basically. So this like basically just the space of the whole thing is about like getting over your depression, basically. Which this kind of thing is, though, just like, how it reminds me of that episode in the first season of Oshinoko, right? With, Akane, being cyberbullied, just depressing her so much to the point that she was about to suicide herself, and so, until Aqua saved her. But, it's just about the whole thing, just letting go and, getting over depression, just letting go of the past, and just moving on. But I'm glad that that the Reiko that we know of, she finally gets to live her own life out in the real world. So I'm perfectly happy with that. So so overall I liked this ending a lot, though. So it was her, especially also, she's the one that she read this part 1 of this book, right? But she never got to read part 2 because she didn't want to know what the ending was. So now we see her finally reading that part 2 of that book now. It kind of was like, hey, this is how it ends, right? Just like this. So I did like that whole notion as well. So overall, I did enjoy this ending, and I love the series. It's definitely, I'll probably easily put it in my top 3 favorite of this year, but it's gonna be tough though, because now shortly afterwards, what we're gonna be doing is, because you got 4 season 2s, you got Kaiju number 8, you got My Dress Up Darling, Call of the Night, and you got Dan Da Da Dan at the same time. So that's going to be very tough, and especially I love the season 2 of Go Go Loser Ranger and with Old Country Bumpkin as well, but that's going to be very tough, though, because I enjoy all those series. So it's going to be very hard for me, though. Very hard, because this has been a good year for, I would say, a good year for anime, I would say. Well, I would say this year has been a shitty year for films. There's only been a few films I like this year. It's been a shitty year for films, I would say it's been a damn good year for anime. Quite the opposite, you know. Because this year of films has been very crap, you know. But I'll get to those, I'll mention those films I like later, but still. But anyway, but this show has been very great. It's been great watching. I haven't experienced like that kind of a mystery anime series I've seen in a long time. So, but yeah, but now this show has finally come to a close, and I'll be look forward to seeing the live action version. So now we just have the season finale of Go Go Loser Ranger, and that'll be it. And that'll be starting up with the fresh new series of reviews of the series. Like I said, the 4 ones I look forward to, you know. But Kowloon Generic Romance, it's nothing but generic at all. Nothing. Like from the very start I saw this. Nothing but generic. So that's here's the finale of Kowloon Generic Romance. 10 out of 10. Perfect, I would say. I would say it was a perfect, you know. Screw it. It's my opinion. You know, nothing can change mine otherwise. To me, this was a perfect series. 10 out of 10, perfect, I would say. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the last episode for Go Go Loser Ranger Season 2. And we'll see you on the next videos. Well, actually, because since Anime Month is coming to a close, I got the last 2 ones to talk about later.